It's 2025, a new year, and the perfect time to turn your business dreams into reality. Maybe you've been tossing around a great idea, but haven't acted yet. Well, Shopify is how you're going to make it happen. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and make your first sale. With thousands of customizable templates, you don't need coding or design skills. Just drag, drop, and go. Plus, Shopify's social media tools help you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts so you can sell everywhere your customers scroll. Managing your business is easy too. From shipping to taxes to payments, Shopify handles the details on a single dashboard, letting you focus on what really matters: growing your business. Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it.
Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donohue and Sonia Mansfield, talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donohue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. We are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. I love this creep we're talking about today. You and I were just talking off mic. I think that's the term, not off air, off mic, about the movie about Kellogg that stars Anthony Hopkins, or is inspired by his story.
Yeah, loosely inspired.
Loosely inspired.
Clearly not the same character, because I think that movie's a comedy.
It tried to be. I said to her, this was the last time I went to a theater specifically to see a John Cusack movie, just to see a John Cusack movie, when I realized, it would have been better to wait 6 months for this to be on video.
Yeah.
But I love the story, and I never thought about, so I'm actually kind of mad at myself, because that's a really good story to tell today, and I'm excited about it. But first, let's get through the top of the show. We are always looking for suggestions for creeps, and always we end the show with somebody who is not a creep. I love our not creep today, by the way. Very timely
I'm excited.
Not creep going on today.
Ooh,
so here are the places you can interact with us. As of today, the year of our Lord, January 24th, 2025. This could change any second. We're women. We reserve the right to change our minds at any second. So right now, as of today, you can follow us on Facebook. We have a basic Facebook page, but that's really a place people will go to complain about our language. This is your warning. We use salty language in this program.
Shit, fuck, damn.
Right, Sonia? We're much more interactive, though, in our private Facebook group. And we're keeping it private, and we're keeping it a nice place. We're doing the best that we can. We have a really nice group of people. We talk about news. We talk about creeps. We talk about pop culture, just all kinds of cool stuff. That's in our private Facebook group. You have to ask to join, and I let a bunch of you in, so don't disappoint me.
That's right.
You have to type in What a Creep Podcast Group, ask to join. Just promise not to be an asshole, and we'll pretty much get along great.
Yes.
We're on Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky at What a Creep Podcast. And we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like some stickers, send me your address via that email, and I will drop them in the mail for you. Not this week, because it was too damn cold. It is the streets of New York are too damn cold for Margot.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't even go to my bodega. It was just that cold. Damn. It's freezing. So I will, when it warms up above the 20s, I will be out again. I will drop by.
She will do it.
I will do it. I got a stack of them. Y'all been asking.
Yeah, she's very good at this.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about our website?
Yeah.
You were working on it the other night.
I was. So you can go to whatacreeppodcast.com. It's everything you want to know about our podcast, but we're afraid to ask. Someone actually asked, can you add a search bar? Yeah, buddy. Added that search bar. So
damn.
If you go down,
damn.
You scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's a search bar there now. So there you go. Search bar. It is all updated with all of our past episodes, and you can open all of those posts if you want. And there are show notes. You can see that we source everything we do. We're not making up any of this stuff. We want to give people the credit for doing all the hard work, because we're just giving you a little taste here at What a Creep.
And a moose-bouche. Is that it? A moose-bouche.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. And if you're looking for a deeper dive, go to the show notes, click through. It's a perfect place to start. So do that. There's also a link to our merch shop where you can get t-shirts and tote bags and journals and whatever strikes your fancy. You could get a shower curtain if you want.
You want to go crazy? Just do it. We dare you.
Do it. You could do it there. You could put our pusses on whatever you want.
You said it this week.
So do that. There's also a link to our Patreon. You want to tell them about that, Margot?
Yes, Patreon. This is where we monetize the show. In addition to the 12 commercials you'll probably hear. Hey, we got to pay for we got to pay for some shit.
That's how we pay for
our
all these sources, y'all.
Rolling Stone alone is $100 a year. So just so y'all know. So we have on there our first 9 seasons. This is the 28th season, I believe, and it's our first of the 28th season. Right. The first 9 seasons are on that Patreon wall just for people who pay for the Patreon. We also put out 2 bonus episodes a month, and they are in audio and video form if you want to see our pusses. And that's where we talk about news, what's going on in the news, creeps in the news, smaller bites of news, that kind of fun stuff. So we release that there on Patreon. You can also sign up for free because occasionally we put stuff there that isn't going to work on the Facebook or not going to work on the TikTok or whatever. So anywho, I want to thank the following people who recently signed up, Sonia. We got a lot of people. Erica, Rach, Holly Ann, Jack, Marianne, Sarah, and Carolyn. All of them recently signed up for Patreon.
Thanks.
Thank you all so much. It just helps with the cost of the show. It makes us feel good to know that people actually would pay for it.
Yeah, well, again, we try to pay for all of our sources if we can. Like, also, thanks. I need caffeine, so I appreciate you helping me support my really bad Diet Coke habit. Thanks, everybody. John Harvey Kellogg would be so disappointed in me.
Well, this is a good segue. Let's get into the show today, Sonia. Who is our creep? What are we talking about?
We are going to be talking about John Harvey Kellogg. This was actually a request in our Facebook group because we take requests.
Yes, we do.
So do that if you want. Sources for this episode, All That's Interesting, the Battle Creek Inquirer, that's in Michigan. Britannica, Chowhound, that's right, Chowhound, making its first appearance, I think, on What a Creep. Forbes, The Guardian, History, History Hit, History Today, The New York Times, the School of Public Health, and Wikipedia.
Damn, Sonia.
Yeah, trigger warnings, racism, sexual assault, and cereal puns.
Ooh.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes, the boring cereal that comes in your Kellogg's cereal pack. It's the one that started them all. So the man behind Corn Flakes is John Harvey Kellogg. He invented that cereal, possibly with his brother, possibly his wife. It's up for debate. Definitely his brother, but maybe the wife too. Anyway, it's up for debate. And that led to other cereals, your Rice Krispies, your Frosted Flakes. He is a big champion of nutrition and like a very holistic approach to health, but he was also a eugenist. And if you don't know, that's a scientific theory, a very inaccurate one, that is the idea about like selective breeding of populations to create like a perfect human, if you will, meaning a white.
The Nazis were big fans, right?
Yes, they were. He also advocated for the forced sterilization of people that he deemed unintelligent or immoral. He also launched a really messed up anti-masturbation campaign that led to the mutilated genitals of some young boys and girls. So it's pretty icky. John Harvey Kellogg, he's not great.
Great.
So, great. Let's start at the beginning. John Harvey Kellogg was born in Tyrone, New York, February 26, 1852. His parents were John Preston and Anne. He was one of 11 kids in a devout Seventh-day
Adventist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They like them babies. Also, we should say a person's lifespan was much, much shorter then. And unfortunately, the child care at the time, a lot of babies didn't make it. So that's why you just kept having them. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know anything about the Seventh-day Adventists, they are very similar to evangelicals, but they also have like a lot of views on health. It's like they, think that making healthy decisions is part of God's word, and You know, you need to be
God's
healthy.
plan.
God's plan.
God's plan.
You need to be healthy to be productive in God's service. You know, a lot of them are vegetarian. They tend to stay away from drinking and smoking and mind-altering drugs. I bring all this up because it kind of leads to where he goes with his later work. The whole family moved to Battle Creek, Michigan when he was very, very young. He spent almost his whole life. He traveled a little bit, but he lived primarily in Michigan. He worked for a while at his father's broom factory. He was sweeping up there.
Hey-o.
The broom factory. Hey-o.
Was his wife a witch?
Maybe. And he also worked at like some publishing houses in the area. None of the 11 Kellogg kids had any formal education because the parents truly believed that Christ's second coming was going to happen any second now.
That's the whole seventh day thing.
Yeah. And
he's coming.
But he's coming. You don't need to learn anything. He'll be here any second.
Be ready.
Yes. But John Harvey Kellogg was all about getting educated. So he went to the Michigan State Normal School. He went to New York University Medical College, graduated in 1875 with he's a doctor. Continued his education
Do
in
they
Europe.
have leeches and shit? I don't know.
Probably. Probably, it's very
Early
old
days in
medicine is very
medicine, yeah.
scary, y'all. It's very scary stuff. So he got his medical degree in 1875, and he really focused on this like holistic model of healthy living. It was like clean eating, good hygiene, and religious faith. He called it biologic living. So it involved like being a vegetarian, no alcohol, no smoking, no tea, no coffee, no condiments. No condiments.
Even the Mormons will let you have mustard.
Damn, sauces, that's for the devil.
God. Mayonnaise is the devil's business.
Yes, you could have a little bit of like minimal qualities of things like eggs and dairy, but in general, they didn't want that. Anything outside of that was considered like self-pollution in his eyes. So in 1877, Kellogg takes over the Battle Creek Sanitarium. Now when we think of sanitariums, we're like, oh, we're thinking of
mental health
like
hospitals.
like a mental health hospital, or, back in the day they would call it the loony bin or the nut house or whatever.
Really great names. That didn't shame people at all for needing help.
Not at all. But when he took it over, it was this idea that it's a health spa, and he remodeled the whole facility with the idea for like optimal living. Like the average life expectancy was 41 years old.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. Literally there's shit on the streets,
Yeah.
And his sanitarium was like a beacon of wellness. Like people were drawn to it, and it really took off. People were like, ooh, I want a clean living. Like, who doesn't want that?
You could take a vacation to like a spa and like
totes
for a week, be treated like crap. You have to get up at 5 a.m. and march and do all of these hikes and shit like that. But at the end of it, you took care of your body for a week, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, some people, they still, like, people will sign up for, like, yoga wellness retreats, and you do yoga 3 times a day, and they feed you, like, vegan meals, and you, like, detox or whatever. It was kind of like that. It did very well. Within a decade, it was treating, like, 300 people to almost 1,200 people, and, like, wealthy people were really drawn to it. And people were learning a lot about hygiene in a way that, like, I'm here to say hi to some guy named Gene. The joke from Beavis and Butthead. But a lot of people didn't think about that stuff. And here's somebody who's kind of preaching that. So all these rich people started flocking there. So it was like J.C. Penney used to go there, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Amelia Earhart went there. Maybe she never left. Maybe who knows?
That's where she is.
President Taft went there.
Was he the big president?
Was he?
I think he was one of
Or is that Roosevelt?
No, Roosevelt was tiny.
Oh, I'm mixing them up.
Yeah.
I can't keep all these white men straight.
I know.
So, and he did invent like a lot of good stuff. Like before we get to the cereal and we get to some of the shittier things he did, like he did invent some good stuff. Like because they were all about like a vegetarian diet, they did invent like a lot of like dairy and meat alternatives. They, things like light therapy and hydrobaths and like warming operating tables. Like those are all things that like he invented or I should say people invented at his place. So let's get to the cereal because this kind of has a funny little story here. He really did care about what people eat. That was one of his things. And at the time, American breakfast was like mostly meat. And it was like, it could be cold, it could be smoked, it could be fried and like leftover fat. Sometimes it was jellied.
Yes.
That sounds so gross.
You didn't have an ice box.
No.
Right.
And non-meat alternatives, things like grains and oats and stuff. That was like time consuming for people. Because again, there wasn't cereal. That's the whole point. So like, if you wanted something other than meat, it was more time consuming to get. So he was always trying to get his patients to eat sterile, eat healthy food, nuts, grains, yogurts, all this stuff. So for years, him and his brother William worked on creating like a low maintenance, like grain based cereal. And eventually they came up with this like flaked wheat cereal. There's a story about maybe they like rolled out all this dough and then they like left it out overnight and it kind of broke up into these flakes. And they switched from wheat to corn. Ta-da, corn flakes. There's also stories that maybe the wife was involved and she actually invented it, which could be, but I couldn't find proof of that. So John Harvey eventually kind of lost interest in the cereal thing. He's like, I'm on to caring about who reproduces and who doesn't. But his brother William, who was like the business guy, was like, I'm into this. And so he takes the cornflakes and runs with it, basically. And he opens the Battle Creek Toasted Cornflake Company in 1906. This eventually becomes Kellogg's. Then John Harvey Kellogg's like, who said you get to use our last name? And then he tried to sue his own brother. And then his brother's like, fuck you, and tried to sue him back for it. And then they fought over the Kellogg family name for a while. Eventually, the younger brother, William, wins. Hence, we have Kellogg's cornflakes.
It's like Zappa. Like Frank Zappa's son. Yeah, his sons fought over the name. Like Ahmet gets the most. He gets like 30% of the Zappa thing. Like the two youngest kids got each 30%, and then Moon and Dweezil, the most famous of the kids, got 20% each. I think that's the percentage. But it was like their mother made that happen, by the way. So that's a whole other story probably we'll talk about on the show, because damn those Zappas. Those wacky Zappas.
So many Mansfields are going to start coming out of the woodwork and demanding that I stop using our family name. So Kellogg's breakfast cereals goes on to be a whole other thing. Funny enough, one of the patients at the sanitarium was C.W. Post.
Oh, yeah.
Post also was like, cereal sounds like a great idea. So he came up with grape nuts, raisin bran, fruity pebbles, bran flakes.
Like I ate all of that shit.
All of that shit. What was your favorite?
Oh, raisin bran. I like raisins. So like raisin bran was, my mom wouldn't get the sugar cereals like all my friends had. We had to get the
definitely
cheaper
had
version.
that.
Yeah. So we did get Corn Flakes and Rice Krispies, but we would put like brown sugar and we would add so much to it. And then drink the milk at the bowl.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, my mom was very kind in letting us pick out cereal. Like we could each pick one, basically. So I tried them all back in the day, but man, I fucking loved Cookie Crisp.
Oh, Cookie Crisp is great.
So good.
And Frosted
so
Mini
good.
Wheats, I liked.
Yep, Frosted love. Like I still love to eat cereal. Every once in a while I'll buy it, but I'm all boring now. It's all like,
does your son eat cereal?
No. Oh, actually, Calvin will eat cereal, but it's he doesn't want it with milk, and he'll eat things like Cheerios just dry.
Oh God,
Like-
that kid is
like
weird.
like a I know, like a with pop, like it's popcorn or something. He'll
right,
just eat
like,
it.
which like a baby does, but he's very
Yes.
particular, like about his
Yeah,
eating.
he doesn't want mushy.
Mhm.
It's not his jam. So whatever. But I still love some Fruity Pebbles. Sounds pretty dope right now.
Honeycomb big. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
It's not small.
Small.
No. We're just gonna sing all these jingles from our childhood.
So it turns out that like John Harvey Kellogg's thing about cornflakes wasn't just like, hey, I'm super worried about like our food diet. He was also worried about America's sexual appetite.
Sure.
He was convinced that like clean food, things like cornflakes would rid people of their carnal desires and stop them from masturbating.
Why are we
Good
stopping that
luck.
exactly?
Yeah, mind your business.
Mind your fucking business, y'all. People only live into
By the way-
41. Give them the pleasure they want. Leave them
if
alone.
if
they want to whack
touch-
off to sleep.
Yes, leave
Do
them
it.
alone.
I don't care.
They're not hurt. If they're not
Not
hurting
hurting
anyone,
anyone.
it's not your business.
They're home alone.
But-
Yeah.
John Harvey Kellogg, was terrified and disgusted by sex his whole life. Never even consummated his relationship with his wife. by
Wait,
the
what?
way.
They didn't have
Correct.
kids?
Nope. They adopted kids.
Was he gay?
But they, I don't know.
Huh.
I
Because
couldn't
I
find
wonder if that
proof
was.
of-
Yeah.
I can't find proof of that, but that is something to consider. So he was very much against like not masturbating. We don't do that. An
touchy.
anti-masturbation crusade. No touchy. No touchy. He believed that masturbation would lead to insanity and it would lead to other problems like a failure of mental capacity, fickleness, untrustworthiness. It caused shifty eyes and hysteria in females.
Yeah. God forbid women experience pleasure. Give me a break.
Yes. He said people who maybe like spicy food, people who had round shoulders, people who were bold, quote unquote, that was a sign of a chronic masturbator. You put hot sauce on your food, you're disgusting. Stop touching yourself. He would say like you're doing all you if you're like eating spicy food and you're masturbating, like he would say such a victim literally dies by their own hand.
Hey-o.
Hey-o! He'll be performing the open mic night at the Battle Creek Sanatorium. So he would encourage like parents to tie their children's hands to their bedposts to keep them from touching themselves.
Sake.
To circumcise teenage boys without administering any kind of anesthetic.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, because then the pain would remind them like, stop, no touchy.
I still
Like-
think it wouldn't work, but okay.
No, it 100%
I had
wouldn't
brothers.
work.
Like, yeah. Boys are gross.
I've got a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, they're nasty. Anyway, he wrote a whole book called Plain Facts About Sexual Life. Sounds fucking boring. Don't put it on your Kindle.
Especially somebody who doesn't have sex.
Yeah,
the
what
hell
do
are
you
writing
know?
about? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He also like was suggesting things like you should like sew like the foreskin shut to prevent erections. I was like, what are you talking about? And he recommended like putting like some sort of like carbolic acid. Is that how you pronounce it? Carbolic acid on young girls' clitorises.
Oh, yikes. He
Yeah,
even knew
'cause-
what that was?
Yeah, what? He heard a rumor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He doesn't know where the hell that
he
was.
doesn't know.
He don't know where the
So-
G spot is. He don't know nothing.
He doesn't know nothing. He doesn't know where any spot is.
Dated a lot like that. Like, I am not breaking you in, y'all. I gotta go.
Nope. Nope. We don't look.
I
We're
don't need
very
students.
busy.
I don't
I
need
don't-
students.
We're very busy. We don't have time for you to be fucking around down there. Okay,
Yeah, just fuck around.
just fuck around.
Find out.
and
or
find
out.
out.
Mama's not here to teach you.
No, and we don't know what that dude's deal was, but
Right.
but you might be onto something. He also like gave a lot of questionable medical advice at his sanatorium. He would encourage his patients to get multiple enemas a day. He had an enema machine that would run 15 quarts of water through the bowels in a matter of seconds. That sounds fucking terrifying.
I used to get enemas, and there was a place I go to in Brooklyn. It's not there anymore, but the woman that ran the place, she was like, wow, you're very uncomfortable when you're here. Like, I'd be very tense. And I'm like, well, yeah, you got, a hose up my hoo-ha, and it's, and I said, so people just relax? Because people fall asleep when this is happening. So I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. But she said, oh, yeah, I've got men sleeping as they're getting an enema. They're just napping. Did they take a gummy before? What? She just like, no, they're just relaxed. Like I get like when I get a pedicure, I get like a little uncomfortable. So you can imagine.
That's very, very different.
Yeah.
But the idea of like 15 quarts of water running through your bowels in a matter of seconds, I'm like.
And then people got coffee enemas. Remember that was a thing for a while? Yes.
Oh.
Robin on Howard Stern would talk about it, and they would make fun of her like, what are you doing? She goes, oh, I see my lunch go by. And I'm like, no, thanks.
No. So he also encouraged his patients to consume like a pint of yogurt every day. One half through your mouth, the other half.
Wait, in your butt?
Yeah, that's right. In your anus.
That's the lubricant? Like, or
you're supposed to shove it in there.
And your body eats it that way?
I guess.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, you absorb it that way.
Jesus. He's a mess.
I'll just eat it normal. That's
NYU
cool.
Medical, I hope, is better now. The curriculum.
He also
butt foods.
Butt foods. That's going to be my new restaurant here in San Francisco. Butt foods.
Somebody will take it, by the way. And then there'll be a big story in the Chronicle about it.
Come to Ass Munchies.
Oh, God.
So icky.
Oh.
He also patented a chair that would shake his patients so hard that they would shit themselves. But I love the description I read in the article says, he also patented a chair that shook patients so violently they involuntarily defecated. And I was like, they shit themselves.
They shit their pants.
I'm like, I think that's a ride at Disney World now, and it's in Magaland.
Or it's in dorms.
So if you want to go
people
there.
Are super drunk, and they can't make it to the bathroom. Part of the walk
awful.
of shame the next day, you could see urine stains and stuff like that.
Sitting in a chair that shakes me so violently I shit myself. That's a literal fucking nightmare for me.
That's like an Ed Wood movie.
It reminds me of the chair that it was in the movie Burn After Reading, the Coen Brothers movie. The chair that's it swings in a dick.
I think of Pee Wee Herman Cherry. Remember that chair that he like the big chair he would sit in? Hi, Cherry.
Cherry would never.
Loving, very
okay.
loving.
But let's get on to like his like really creepy shit. So he was super into eugenics. It's this, and at the time, President Theodore Roosevelt he would talk about this idea of quote unquote race suicide. And it was this notion that like middle and upper class, like white Americans were being outbred by quote unquote inferior races, right?
Tale as old as time.
Exactly. And Kellogg was like, yeah, let's make America white again. So he was very much a like staunch eugenicist.
Like Elon Musk, who says that we all need to have 10 kids apiece. Yeah.
Yes. Everything old is new again. Like there's no original ideas, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things the show has taught me. So Kellogg was very much against like racial mixing, and he actually tried to start a registry that would like keep track of people's medical records in this hope of like kind of discovering racial thoroughbreds that he could introduce to each other to create like
This is all
more perfect
problematic.
humans.
Yes.
It's so gross. He's one of the co-founders of the Race Betterment Foundation, which is an organization that promoted racial segregation in eugenics. He organized the first ever Race Betterment Conference. It's like a TED Talk for racists.
For racists. Great.
Yes. 400 eugenicists from all around the country were there. It was very popular. The schedule was like published in the newspaper. Thousands of people went just to like go to these talks. They hosted, and this is not a joke, a Better Baby contest in which the white infants were judged and awarded based on their breeding. This is a
Good
thing. Like 400
God.
babies.
I don't like that baby. It's ugly.
That's an ugly baby.
It ain't
0
weighted up.
stars. Would not recommend. It's like, are you hot or not? But for babies.
Right. Put that
So
diaper on your head.
shitty.
I don't even look at you.
So shitty. He was also in favor of forced sterilization for criminals and for people that he, quote unquote, I'm going to put quotes around this, feeble-minded.
Yeah.
So, people that he believed weren't smart, weren't moral, maybe suffered from mental conditions. And it was a theory that he really pushed. It's not like he came up with the idea, but he really pushed it. And he had a lot of money and he had a lot of power, and he had the sanitarium that people were coming to be healthy, and they picked this shit up. This theory really caught on. 12 states passed sterilization laws by 1913. The headlining speaker at that conference did a speech titled Calculations on Working Out of a Proposed Program for Sterilization. What a catchy name.
Yeah.
Basically, he's claiming that we needed at the time to sterilize 15 million people in order to save the country and keep it white.
And by the way, y'all, people still think that. They
do.
They do think that. They just don't put it this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. A lot of people do.
Kellogg's support for this kind of thinking was a really big deal. It had a huge impact in Michigan in particular. Again, that's where a sanitarium was. And all the educators around there started getting in on this theory, and he has all this money. And the colleges around in Michigan started to offer or began requiring eugenics courses for students. It's really, really messed up. And students and staff were expected to support it and promote it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, everything old is new again.
Yeah.
Michigan was the first state to propose like sterilization in 1897. There were a couple of, the first law didn't actually pass until 1923, but it was proposed as early as that. This was upheld in court multiple times. It led to almost 4,000 people who were sterilized. 76% of the people who were deemed mentally deficient.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, we think if you had any kind of mental illness, basically, you could have been depressed.
No, or schizophrenic or something, or
it could have been none of those things.
Autism. It could have been anything that's just melancholy, like whatever the person's going through. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It was all of, and then 13% of those people were considered sexual deviants, people with epilepsy or moral degenerates.
Or people who just like orgasms, by the way.
Yeah, it could be people
those freaks.
People who like to get some. It could be gay people.
Right.
And it mainly affected African Americans and poor people.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Sure it does.
Surprise.
Yeah.
So this shit went all the way to the Supreme Court. And if you think the Supreme Court sucks now, in 1924, there's a case called Buck versus Bell, and it's about should we be able to force sterilize people who are quote unquote feeble-minded? And 8-1, the Supreme Court's like, yeah, that's fine.
Oh my God.
So you think we suck now?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of really bad decisions.
Yeah. And I want to give a little history of the woman who's at the center of this, because I think it's really interesting. So her name is Carrie Buck. She came from a family that
what a freak. Sorry.
What a freak. Her mother actually had epilepsy. And so they put her in a like Virginia state colony for epilepsy and the feeble-minded. That's what it's called. But she was also accused of immorality, prostitution, and the fact that she had syphilis. So she's put in there. Carrie's taken from her as a baby and put into foster care, where she is sexually assaulted as a teenager by the foster family's nephew.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So she gets pregnant, has no means to support the baby. Her foster family then reports her.
Right.
Says she's feeble-minded, and she is then committed to the same place her mother was committed to.
And it probably to them, it's like it's the safer option. Maybe. I'm trying to be,
Yes. So she is committed there. Again, they claim that she was feeble-minded and that she was promiscuous.
Promiscuous girl.
Because she was sexually assaulted by their neighbor.
Right. Yeah, of course. Of course. That's also
And
Little House on the Prairie had a whole thing about that.
Yes.
Like
and they adopted her baby. This, again, it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they were like, that's fine. Let's sterilize people. So that went on for a while, and it was upheld for a while. She was the first person to be sterilized under Virginia state law. And, you know, it spread all around the country. 33 states at some point had these kinds of laws. 60,000 people were involuntarily sterilized. And it ended because eugenics became something associated with the Nazis. And back then, you didn't want to be associated with the Nazis.
Yeah, that was a bad look.
Yeah. So people were like, the Nazis are into this? Fuck that. Good times. But because John Harvey Kellogg poured money into these programs used earlier, I think he bears responsibility for the rise of that movement in the U.S. Hence why he is on this list.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck that guy.
So seriously, fuck that guy. We're going to bring it in for a landing. So John Harvey's brother, William, he, ran the Kellogg cereal business for a really long time, brought in his son, John, and John invented all bran, apparently really streamlined the company's operations. But then his father forced him out after he realized that John was like divorcing his wife and marrying one of the girls who worked in the office. So that's not moral.
The morality police. Do you remember Saturday Night Live had a commercial called Colon Blow?
So gross. It's one of their funnier commercials.
Yeah,
it's
it really was. But it kind of, because some of them tell you that basically this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's basically like, this shit'll make you poop.
That's going to make you poo. You're going to want to stay home for the afternoon. It could be.
Yeah,
take a while.
Take a day off from work and eat some Colon Blow. Oh my God. So this episode is so poop filled. I probably should have put that in the trigger warnings.
It's very scatological. Yes.
Yes, it is. So John Harvey was married to Ella. They fostered 42 children.
Ooh.
7 of them they legally adopted. They had a huge home. They had a 50-room home. And they did donate to good causes. They apparently took good care of these children. They never had biological children of their own because obviously sex is icky.
It's an essential part of having kids.
Yeah,
the sex part, especially
I assume they just sat in bed and ate cornflakes. That's what I have to assume they did. But again, they fostered 42 children or 42 children. 42 children. He ran the sanitary until his death in 1943. He lived for a long time. He lived to be 91 or something. I'm like,
those cornflakes, yeah.
Yeah, cornflakes. He opened a second health spa in Florida.
Florida.
He has patented 4 medical devices before his passing, including the artificial sun bath machine, which I assume is a seasonal people who get seasonal affective disorder.
I get that. So I would totally need that. Yeah.
Yeah. He also invented a peanut-based meat alternative called Nuttos. I never ate it, but he left most of his estate to the Race Betterment Foundation.
Money well spent.
Yes. So that is our creep, John Harvey Kellogg.
Oh, good job, Sonia.
Thank you, my friend.
Do you want to hear about our not a creep this week?
My gosh, I can't wait.
So, what happened this week? We had, there was a new person that's now our president who was the old person.
Boo!
And yeah, we have our thoughts and feelings about it. But
Yes, we do.
they had he's supposedly a Christian. Okay, whatever.
Ah!
I mean, him and his, I'm sorry. I had, okay. Let me bring this up instead. Sorry, everybody. It's just,
No, you're all good.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Marian Edgar Buttle, and I think that's how you pronounce her
Nice.
name. Yes. So she is the person that was the pastor that gave the talk to the new administration, and we had Trump and Melania, and we had JD Vance and his wife sitting there, and then there's not
The
Don
whole
Jr.
Trump crime family.
The crime family was sitting behind him, looking like dirt, like I look when I'm in church. Like I don't know, I'm like staring around. But she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't come up here." The Time magazine link went out on me, but she basically had said to him, "Sir, I'm really hoping you use these Christian principles to take care of people. There are people that are scared. There are people that are marginalized, and they are scared of you, and they're scared of their future. And I want you to think about that whatever you're doing, that to understand that, sure, some people are not here legally as immigrants, but that doesn't make them bad people. There's still people that work. There are people that pay taxes. There are people that can contribute to the community." And she was basically saying, and sure, you can all say, everyone tries to talk to Trump. Nobody can reach him. He's in his own head. He does what he wants to do. He's always a victim. He
Always.
immediately said, "Oh, this woman owes me an apology. How dare she?" Blah blah blah. And and Time magazine interviewed her and said, "Are you going to give him an apology?" And she said, "Absolutely not. He doesn't deserve an apology. It is my job as a pastor, as speaking of the Bible, is to be biblically accurate and and to pass along."
He loves to talk about God until it's time to actually do, Christian things. Then it's like, oh no, how dare you?
How dare you? And so there's the backlash of some people going after her. How dare you? You should have, blah, blah, blah. Look, this is the kind of person that she is. Matthew Shepard was murdered, and
So
in
sad.
1998, he was 21 years old. And it was a big news story around the world because his body was found. And for 20 years, his family didn't have any place to lay him rest because they were worried that people would break in. If it was at a cemetery or something, that somebody would break in and vandalize it. And which has happened to famous people.
How fucking broken you are.
Well, yes.
To do that.
And there's people that, also there's a whole thing like, well, that's not what really happened to him. I'm like, shut the fuck up. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. So Judy Shepard, they were based in Wyoming, and by the way, this woman is Episcopal. I was raised Catholic. I could definitely be Episcopal if this is what they're going to do. Like this, I'm totally on board with that. But she's a reverend, Marian Edgar Buttle. She now lives in D.C., and she said, "Hey, we have a national cathedral, and it is monitored and it's safe. Have him buried here, and this way people can visit him, but no one's going to deface what his gravestone or whatever they have for him." So that's what she's known for. And then she's become known for, she was the person who had to give the lecture with Trump and Vance in the audience, which apologies to her and her soul, what that must have felt like in the moment. But the good thing is that people are like, who is this Marian Edgar Buttle? And she is a fabulous woman. And I said, well, maybe she has a book or something. And it turns out she does have a book or something that's coming out. It's called How We Learn to Be Brave, Decisive Moments in Life and Faith. And it is sold out. because so
Nice.
many
I
people
love
have
this.
bought a copy. So I got the audiobook because I had a credit for that on Audible. So I am listening to the audiobook, but people are being encouraged to ask your local libraries and to ask your local bookstores to have this book in their possession so people can buy it or people can loan it out at the library. And it's an inspirational guide to the key junctures in life that, if navigated with faith and discernment, pave the way for us to become our most courageous selves, by the Bishop and famed Episcopal Diocese of Washington, D.C. Once again, it is called How We Learn to Be Brave, Marianne Edgar Buttle. It is on back order because so many people immediately went to buy her book. Yay for
That's
all of you.
awesome.
Once again, it is an audiobook. You can get that yourselves, or I sent a note right away to the Brooklyn Library. Y'all need to keep this in there. So do that. If you want to feel like you're doing something good in the world, that's why we do the not a creep at the end. We want you to feel hopeful.
Yeah.
We want to give you actions. We want you to know that there are good people out there that aren't eugenicists and aren't like masturbation freaks. Like they're people that are kind and good.
I watched the video
Same.
of her
and
sermon,
she kept it really in check. Like she was not freaking out.
She was being nothing but kind,
right?
To be honest. And like, first of all, let's start with this. How about Trump and his people do some fucking research before they send him places?
Right.
Like, but they don't, because the truth is they kind of want stuff like this to happen.
Right.
So
they
that
can feel
they
like
can then be,
victims.
yes, they want it to happen. And they
so
want
they could
everyone.
See, he can't even go to church without some woke lefty weirdo giving him a hard time. And like when you watch it, that's not what's happening.
I don't give a shit. You're the president.
Yeah, you should handle it.
Yeah.
The whole thing is women can't have that job. It's white guys. You're the ones that can have the stomach for it. Fucking deal with it.
Yeah,
baby.
Exactly. You want to be president? Well, here's what comes with it. You have to fucking listen to people who don't agree with you.
Yeah.
You're not the fucking king. Like, it's bullshit. Fuck this guy. But also, like, she was preaching nothing but kindness. And the fact that, like,
and to look out for people that are on the margins.
And he was like, how dare you suggest that I should look out for the less fortunate or for vulnerable people? Like, he looks like a real fucking loser for doing this. And what she did was so brave. And that's one of the reasons. I'm not saying like, and we're so brave because we host a podcast, but like, you should, when you see shit, call it out.
Yeah.
And that's what she's doing. And she's using her pulpit to do that. And she should. And we all should. When you see something, say something. And good for her. And a lot of our elected officials aren't doing that right now. And it's bullshit and it's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. And I'm going to give just a little bit more context. Yeah. So she was born in Summit, New Jersey in 1959. So she's a boomer. She is with the Episcopal. She's the Right Reverend Marianne Bode. I'm sorry. But she was from New Jersey. She served all across this country. She's now in DC. She was a deacon and then she became a priest. She's married. She has 2 kids. She went to Mount Olive High School. She went to the University of Rochester for her BA and then Virginia Theological Seminary. Just a really rad person. And the fact that she got under his skin, and then even like, what's his face? Mike Johnson, they all are, they got butthurt about
Such
this.
a tool.
And how dare you? Like you're not Christian if you can't handle that. You're
such
just not.
a tool.
Yeah. So
no. And again, like everybody, we can all point at them and say, and point out the hypocrisy and try to shame them. They don't care.
Right.
They don't care, but we should always call it out. Like, fuck you. We see you. You're trash.
So that's
also, we should just point and laugh at their dicks too.
Well, yeah, they're mushrooms. But that's our Not a Creep this week. We're always looking for suggestions, so please reach out to us. All those places I mentioned at the top of the show, our email
Yes,
once
please.
again. Yes, please. You can leave us a review, a 5-star review. That'd be amazing in Apple Podcasts. It helps us with the people who want to give us 1 stars and think we have like guests that are more interesting than we are, which I'm like, we've had like 2 guests on the show in like the last 5 years. I'm not quite sure, but okay.
They're lovely guests.
They're great. We had Kristen and we had some really great people, but okay. We can handle it. We're not,
but we don't care.
But if you want to leave us 5 stars, that would be amazing.
Helps.
It does help. We also, if you like the sound of our voices, and by golly, why wouldn't you?
Right.
We co-host a show called Dorking Out, where Sonia and I dork out about movies. And this is the show that Sonia leads. And Sonia, what are we going to be talking about next? And who's going to be our guest?
This is very exciting. He'll probably outshine us. We are talking about The Ice Harvest from 2005 that stars John Cusack and Connie Nielsen and Oliver Platt. And our guest
Billy
is
Bob
going to be
Thornton.
Adam and Billy Bob Thornton. And our guest is Adam Risky from F This Movie. And it's always a delight to have Adam on. He's just one of the funniest people.
He's
We
a good
love
egg.
him. He's a good egg. Exactly.
He's a
So
mensch.
it's going to be so fun to have him on. Our episode out right now is The Social Network. If you want to hear about another creep, you can listen to us talk about Mark Zuckerberg. It's good times over at Dorking Out. But Adam's coming on and it's going to be so fun.
And people love Adam. He's one of the funniest people in the world.
Yes.
Great Chicago boy.
Yes.
He's a total Cusack fan, so we had to find something that hasn't been talked about to death. So that's one other place you can hear us. Once again, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com. That's not going away. I'm also on Blue Sky and Instagram and Threads and TikTok for as long as that is.
Yeah, same.
Still not until it turns into state-run media. You can find me there too. What about you, my friend?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm at Brooklyn Fit Chick for Threads and Instagram, and I'm at Brooklyn Margot for Blue Sky and for TikTok. Once again, as long as those are in existence. My YouTube channel is at my name, Margot Donahue. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Sonia, for bringing us this creep this week. Everyone, in the meantime, be warm, be safe, be kind. Don't be a creep.
Be a creep. Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.